We all have our dream instruments, our white whale, something that captures our imagination. We long for it for years, unsure if we'll ever get our hands on one. And that was the case with me and the Dan Electro Wild Thing, until I found one. This is Gear Profile. I'm Marc Gallagher, welcome to Gear Profile, where I take a look at a piece of gear that I have and love, I tell its story, why it speaks to me, and of course give it a little play. It was 2011, and I was 14 years old walking through Nantwich Town Centre one day. A person flyering was giving away copies of the magazine Gear, a freemium designed exclusively for musicians. I took a copy, and I have read this, front to back, several times. In between the John Part interview and the paid ads from the likes of Fret King and Pilgrim Banjos, there is a feature on page 17 looking at a guitar that I'd never seen the likes of before. Looked at the Dan Electro Wild Thing. With its striking colours and a shape best described as a Stratocaster with its hair slicked back, I was enamoured. They were reasonably priced at £379, but to a 14-year-old, that might as well have been £1,000. Let's firstly go over what the Wild Thing is. It is a Dan Electro guitar very much in the mould of most other Dan Electro guitars. Its body is made of masonite with an outer frame, hollow insides, and then a solid centre block. Other common features include the Coke bottle headstock and the lipstick pickups. This is the Dan Electro Thing. This specific guitar is based off of a prototype from the 1960s referred to as the Swept Wing. This didn't make its way into production for another 50 years. The main thing going for this guitar was its shape. Otherwise, it was like any other Dan Electro. It came in 3 finishes, Candy Apple Red, Candy Apple Blue, and Black. In terms of instrument, you could get this as a guitar, a baritone guitar, or as a bass. Sadly, Google searches yielded few results, and shops even less so. It remained a pipe dream of a guitar for over 10 years. And then I got inspired. Through a combination of making and completing a dream gear wish list in tandem with a renewed interest in guitar, I continued hunting the used market for this long since discontinued item. I found one option in the vicinity of London. In July, I made a trip down to Wimbledon with my mother to watch the tennis. I made a small detour on the way to Hertfordshire, and in doing so, I collected a rare guitar in a very rare finish. This aqua light sparkle version of the Dan Electro Wild Thing is one that I have never seen before, and there is no information available on it. In a message with the eBay seller, who was the father of the original owner of the guitar, they suggested it could have been an early production model, like a prototype, before they kind of decided on the main 3 colours that I've mentioned before. I bought the guitar for £400, and then I went to watch the tennis. As mentioned, this is a Dan Electro guitar, so it's got a lot in common with other guitars from this company. It's got a hollow masonite body with a centre block, maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard, and also the Coke bottle headstock. It's got a rosewood saddle, which is not great for sorting out intonation, but it's cheaper to produce, with Dan Electro being a notoriously frugal company. Speaking of frugal, the lipstick pickups are a great example of frugality because they were invented when Mr. Daniel, head of Dan Electro, decided to house pickups in lipstick tubes because they were cheaper to acquire and procure. Isn't it insane that I spent £400 on what is ostensibly a cheaply made, cheap compromise of a guitar? Aren't I a sucker? These lipstick pickups are wired in series, so it gives a really throaty sound in middle position. This is a standard Dan Electro thing. One mod I did was swapping out the pickup selector switch. The original one felt too cheap and flimsy, which, now that I say it, aren't I just a sucker for paying £400 for this guitar? The switch, I thought it was from a valve amplifier, the way this sort of like has a sturdy on, standby, off kind of thing. However, it's not. It's just a really sturdy, solid switch, which is a really nice upgrade from the flimsy one I wasn't a fan of. The instrument has earned a bit of buckle rash on the back, not because I wear a belt, but just because I pack the guitars on the rack behind me like sardines, and the gold tops Bigsby style trem just hacked away at the finish of this like a chainsaw. But the most unique thing about this guitar is the finish. It's described by the seller as aqua light sparkle. There is no record of the Wild Thing in such a finish, or even any finish that deviates from Candy Apple's red, blue and black. Maybe it's a refinish, maybe it's a very faded Candy Apple blue, maybe it's an early production model, like was mentioned before. Sadly, despite all my efforts, whenever I've reached out, Danelectro have provided no answer, which is really annoying because I want to know why this guitar came to be. Why this colour? Why is there no information on it? Why are you the way that you are?
Why are you the way that you are?
It's also kind of fitting seeing a guitar in a unique shape like this, in a unique colour like this. It makes it feel special, like a truly one-of-a-kind guitar. Maybe it made it worth the £400 after all, even if that was slightly more expensive than the RRP, which was $379. I feel guilty that I spent £21 more than I should have. Lipstick pickups are single coils enclosed in these metal lipstick tubes. The twangy nature of them works wonders in things like surf music, but I personally really like the sound of the neck pickup on these really washy reverb-soaked chords. Meanwhile, the bridge pickup's got this nashy charm to it, befitting of some early rock and roll. But the series wiring really makes this guitar shine. Going into the middle position and running both of these pickups in series instead of parallel like most other guitars, what you get is a giant humbucker effectively. So this gives you a boost in volume, a slight loss in top end, but it can make for a really satisfying solo boost. I'm so glad that I finally got my hands on one of these. I've been in awe of the striking visuals and the shape of the Wild Thing for 13 years. Ever since reading this magazine in 2011, I have wanted a Wild Thing despite how scarce they were. Had I been richer at the time, I would have preferred like a red or a blue one, but I also love the story that comes with the sheer what the fuckery of this undocumented finish. It's not my favourite guitar, it's not exactly my Les Paul. And to be fair, it wasn't until after I bought it that I learned about Danelectro's production style and things like the guitar not being made of solid wood. On the plus side, it's really light to play, it's easy on my back, but also some of the parts feel cheap, like the switch that I replaced and like the plastic knobs they just feel a bit tacky. Not that I'm really surprised considering how famously frugal Nathan Daniel was. Despite all of that, this guitar has been my white whale. Now that it's bitten, I'm not gonna let it go. My name is Marc Gallagher and this has been Gear Profile. Thank you for watching and let me know if you have any thoughts down in the comments. You can also follow me on your favourite social media at Marc Gallagher Music and consider supporting me on Patreon. For now, I am Marc Gallagher. Like the video if you want, share it if you feel compelled to, and follow me on places. I'll see you down the road.